The Stranger Things Season 5 trailer is here, so let's break it down one last time.
One last time.
What's going on, guys? I'm Chris, and welcome back to another video. Today, I am breaking down the official trailer for Stranger Things Season 5 that is finally here. The waiting is no more. We have been blessed with a glorious trailer. Dare I say, maybe the best trailer the show's ever put out. Let me know what you think down below. But I'm going to dive into this thing as I always do, breaking it down frame by frame. So before I get into this, hit that like button, comment down below your predictions, your theories based on everything we got in this trailer. It was a juicy one, and of course, subscribe and hit that notification bell to help reach my goal of 150,000 subscribers here on the channel. I mean, quite a bit. If you want extra content, including a deep dive into every episode of Stranger Things, live streams, and more, Patreon is the place to be. Any support over there truly does mean the world. And if you like this shirt right here, or any of the other Stranger Things related merch you see me wear, you can get you some at Firefly Shop. If you use code FILMSTOCK10, you can get a discount. Go ahead and stock up for Season 5. And one random thing, I got a P.O. box recently. Here's the address. I've been asked about it in plenty of videos and streams, and I just forget to mention it, but I have a P.O. box now, so do with that information what you will. If you want to send a letter, send a package, whatever, you got it. There's the address. But without further ado, it's time to break down this trailer. So the trailer opens with the sound of thunder in the sky as we see Hawkins' library in the Upside Down. I have a feeling this shot is from a young Will Byers flashback, as we know he's being held here when he's rescued by Hopper and Joyce in the Season 1 finale. We then seemingly go inside the library where a Demogorgon looks like it's almost bowing down to Vecna. And this is likely the same Demogorgon that took Will from Castle Byers at the end of Season 1, Episode 7 to the Hawkins library. Vecna then enters frame, and he's actually in his old form. If you zoom in, you can tell this is pre-redesign. So this is signifying that this is not in the fall of 1987. It's probably going to be on November 6th, 1983 in a Will flashback. Vecna then walks forward and we see his hand in frame, but if you zoom into what Vecna's walking towards, it looks like he's walking to the same spot where Will was held in the Upside Down in the library when he's found by Joyce and Hopper. So I wonder if we'll see Will getting the tube, I'll call it, put down his throat by Vecna. To me, this would unlock even more lore, and this could all very well be from the first 5 minutes of footage they're going to release to the public on Stranger Things Day next week, November 6th. We also have a Vecna voiceover while this goes down as he's saying, "At long last, we can begin." So is this referring to him finally having someone he can use as a spy in Will Byers? Is this going to lead to the answer as to why Will was taken to the Upside Down? We know Vecna, or Henry, or one if you will, has been outcast since 1979 when he was first sent to Dimension X. So if this moment is in 1983, it's been a few years of waiting to find the perfect person to be his spy. Or is this trailer trickery? And this line is actually spoken later on in present day based on where we are with the end of the trailer. We'll get to that later in this video, trust. I also have to ask the question, is the Mind Flayer speaking through Vecna here? Lots of questions that will get answered next month and in December. The next shot is of Dustin biking to school and then walking through the halls of Hawkins High, and he's repping his Hellfire Club shirt, which is certain to set off some people and garner attention. And this is of course pre-beating that he's going to take, because he didn't have any of the bruises on his face yet, and it's likely just moments before this image of Dustin being shoved against a locker by the jock Andy from Season 4. We then see an overhead drone style shot of downtown Hawkins with a border established around the library downtown, as it seems to be the hub for the military base slash lab. You can even spot what looks like bunkers, likely where these people are posted up in the teaser trailer. Maybe that's reserved for severe lockdown situations though. Mike and Elle are seen on the rooftop of the WSQK radio station. This was teased yesterday in the trailer announcement. It was one of the shots that was revealed. And I can't emphasize this enough, this is not a breakup scene.
I'd dump your ass.
There was a rumor going around online ever since the paparazzi photos came out when this scene was being filmed saying, oh, this is a breakup scene. I disagree strongly. It seems like they're having a heart-to-heart conversation, gearing up for a final mission. And we even get a Mike voiceover here where he says, "We're really starting to lose it, being stuck in here, no end in sight. Maybe tonight is our break. We find Vecna and we end this once and for all, forever." Now this voiceover starts with Mike and Elle on the rooftop, but it actually ends with Mike sort of leading the charge, laying out plans and giving a pregame speech to the rest of the characters in the WSQK radio station. But I think the break in the dialogue ends with "maybe tonight is our break." I think that's the last thing he says to Elle, and then the rest of what he says is when he's talking to the other characters at the radio station. When he says "maybe tonight is our break," in context, he could be referring to the whole commencing burn plan that's teased in the teaser trailer. If you'll remember in the teaser, we see Mike and Lucas depart on bikes from the WSQK radio station while Elle hangs back, and that could maybe be the plan to find Vecna and get their break, as Mike says. I will say it's awesome to see Mike assume the role of being a leader yet again. He was kind of sidelined in season 4 and season 3, but to see him come back and have this prominent leadership role and embrace being the heart of the group just feels right. But during Mike's voiceover, we see some other shots. We get one of what looks like the border of Hawkins. It's heavily guarded by military presence, which makes me think that no one can leave Hawkins or enter Hawkins. And then if you factor in the shot of Hopper and Elle from the To Doom date announcement in the teaser of them looking at a wall in the upside down, you have to wonder, what if that is the border to Hawkins just in the upside down? Another shot we see is of Joyce and Elle hopping down into the tunnels via a ladder. Joyce is wielding a flashlight, and I have a feeling this could be the back entrance to the tunnels from the WSQK radio station. If you remember from season 2, it seems like the closer you are to Hawkins' lab, the more likely there are to be tunnels based on the maps. So the radio station could be on an old farmland or farm property. The trailer then cuts to a shot of Jonathan moving a shelf to reveal a secret doorway in the back of the WSQK radio station, likely to the tunnels. And he's seen with Steve, Nancy, and Robin, and of course Nancy is leading the charge down. This shot of Hopper and Elle venturing into the upside down just feels right. They're a badass duo, just like at the end of season 2 when they go to Hawkins' lab to close the mother gate, and we've now seen various shots of these two down in the upside down on a mission, and I wonder when and where they're going to encounter the aforementioned wall on the upside down. We then see the end of the Mike pregame hype-up speech. He's seen leading Robin, Steve, Nancy, Jonathan, and Will. Dustin, Lucas, and Joyce are also there. So in this moment, Mike's being a leader to the OG party, right? His peers, but also the older teens and even Joyce, and everyone's respecting him and viewing him as a leader. We know the WSQK radio station is their home base this season, and we've seen these characters looking at some sort of projector in the behind-the-scenes teaser, so they're clearly planning for their big mission to find Vecna here. I think it's interesting that they've made it clear they want to find Vecna. Next up, we get a shot of Elle with her bandana on in the upside down, and she's looking up at a red lightning strike in the sky. Is this lightning strike Vecna's eye in the sky? Is he overseeing everything in the upside down? Run wild with your theories down below. Elle then sprints and jumps over the fence into what looks like the military base. But would it be possible that she's pulling up on the government's lab that they've actually set up in the upside down? If you'll remember back in season 2, inside the mother gate, Dr. Owens is communicating with teams that have equipment set up in the upside down. I feel like that could be the case here, just on a much larger scale. More on that later as to why 11 is jumping over the fence there. We see a quick shot of the squawk van pulling up at the WSQK radio station, and inside the radio station, we see a distressed Joyce sitting on a couch with Mike standing behind her, and someone's feet are seen on the couch, those being Will's. So the question I ask is he possessed here? If so, do our characters know that Vecna has taken over Will, much like how the Mind Flayer physically possessed him in season 2? If they don't know, I think Mike's gonna have to go full on season 2 again and crack the case, figuring out that Will's a spy yet again. Also worth noting, this shot could be from volume 2 in episode 5 after the events of Sorcerer. A voiceover from 11 then begins where she says, "This isn't like one of your campaigns. You don't get to write the ending, not this time." This voiceover reminded me a lot of the moment from the season 4 volume 2 trailer where Robin tells Steve, "I have this terrible feeling it might not work out for us this time." We then cut to Mike laying out some D&D figures on what appears to be a map of Hawkins, and if you look up top, it says Day of Disaster. I wonder if this was like an emergency map that's handed out to all Hawkins residents in case another apocalyptic type event occurs, or if there are more rifts. But this map lays out some new locations in season 5. We can see what looks like the barn setting that we know Joyce will be at, with Will, Erica, Robin, and Derek. The military base surrounding the library is shown. We can see a water tower, definitely for a reason, we'll find out, I bet. And the two D&D pieces are set down on what appears to be the church, which is a new location we know will be in this season. In fact, there's a shot of Dustin, Nancy, and Jonathan at this church in the upside down in the One Last Adventure video, so I wonder who exactly these pieces are representing and how often will we be at this new church location in season 5. But this moment in the show is of course going to be around the same time that we see the gang put their hands together and break it down at the table right behind Hawkins High School, of course the same table where Chrissy and Eddie are in the season 4 premiere of the Hellfire Club. We do get a shot of Will walking away from the table with all the boys behind him though, and he clearly sees something. What if he sees a clock? We know Chrissy saw a clock in the tree here, and that's very clearly a sign that Vecna is coming, but we know Will's going to be looking up in this area based on the shot from Noah Schnapp's Instagram from months ago, so this is likely where he's going to start to be messed with by Vecna mentally. We then see the conclusion of Elle's voiceover to Mike, and it's revealed that they are in Hopper's cabin, and Elle is about to enter the rigged bathtub that they have set up. We've seen a shot of this in the teaser as well. And to me, this feels more like a final goodbye before their big mission than the actual moment of them on the WSQK radio station roof. But if she's going in the bathtub, that means she's probably going into the void. So what if she's heading down there to look for Will or go inside of Vecna's mindscape? All these layers are going to be revealed, but Mike looks very worried about Elle being put in this dangerous position. He's clearly concerned for her. Also, does Mike have a bruise on the side of his face? You tell me. But the visual effects are starting to ramp up now in this trailer. Out of this world, especially for TV. I can't fathom how good it looks.
His finger looking good.
Whatever we see here is something new in the world of Gates / the upside down lore. It's also the same shot we've seen from the teaser, but we can tell Jonathan and Nancy are looking up at whatever the hell is forming here. You can tell they're on the roof of Hawkins' lab. Though if you zoom in, parts of the lab look melted. We know the first gate was created to Hawkins' lab, so being back here makes sense, going back to where it all began. But what's going on here? Is this potentially the upside down evaporating to reveal Dimension X? It seems almost like the upside down sky is changing colors in a way, and this could be some huge revelation that's made where like the upside down is just a facade and it's all really Dimension X. We don't know the ins and outs of that. The Duffers said they're going to reveal it to us in an article recently, so we'll find out, but I'm very intrigued by what this explosion is causing. Could this potentially be a bridge back to the right side up? We know that the season 5 penultimate episode is called The Bridge, so anything's possible. But of all the shots in the trailer, this is one that I'm maybe the most curious about, so please let me know what you make of it in the comments down below. Simultaneously, we see Robin looking up at the WSQK radio station tower with the shadow particles of the Mind Flayer wrapping around that tower. This is another shot we saw back in the teaser trailer. And it's worth noting that Robin does have blood on her neck, so everyone is taking a beating this season. But the trailer then cuts to Robin next to Murray. However, I think this shot is later on, and this is just the trailer tricking us with its editing. Now, when we do see Robin and Murray, the ground is opening up in front of them to reveal gates, likely where Demogorgons are going to leap out from. The lights of the radio station are also flickering behind them. Now, if you'll remember, we see Robin and Murray driving in the Bradley's Big Buy truck and being chased by a Demogorgon back in the teaser. So this seems like it could be the start of that scene where they hop in the truck and dip, but there's a Demogorgon or two chasing after them. And I'm going to keep it a buck. We barely see any Murray here or in any of the marketing for that matter. It's not looking too good for the man. He's probably going to bite the dust. A Nancy quote then starts up as she says, "It's planning to end our world, and it's not going to stop till we are free of every last ounce of suffering." Now, her use of it instead of he has me thinking she's actually referring to the Mind Flayer here and not Vecna. She's actually seen in the hall of the hospital speaking these lines and then again washing blood off her hands. This is a shot we've seen in past moments in the teaser trailer. So someone is clearly hospitalized, and I can't shake the fact that it's probably going to be Karen Wheeler. We know Holly's going to likely vanish and get taken by Vecna, but Karen is right there next to her. More on both of them later. We then get a shot of Dustin embracing Steve as seen in the teaser trailer, and I wonder if this is them consoling one another after the loss of a friend, or if they both just survived a crazy intense moment, and so they're like, man, I'm glad I have you by my side. Or hear me out, what if this is after Vecna plays mind games with Dustin and puts a horrible vision in his head of like a demented Eddie, and when Dustin snaps out of it, Steve's right there and they embrace, and Steve is consoling him as a big brother figure in his life. We then see more of Elle after she hops that fence in the upside down and she's running on rooftops, and I'm really starting to think this is a lab set up in the upside down that the military and government have set up by accessing the gate in Hawkins' library. If you think about it, it would make sense for Elle to sneak in from the outside perimeter within the upside down, because she can't get to the base on the right side up considering she's wanted by the government and military. She'd be caught, so she has to sneak in through the upside down. Pretty sick. We get another shot of Elle and Hopper side by side in the military base. This is likely moments before Elle experiences some serious pain, unfortunately. There's a close-up of Elle gripping her hands as though she's about to use her powers in the base, but it cuts very quickly to another shot of her actually using her powers, and if you look at the background, I swear she's not in the same spot. It almost looks like she's in the hallway of the hospital here. Could she be pulling up to save Lucas and Max from getting attacked by Demodogs? We'll see. Next up, we actually get to see the explosion from earlier that takes place with Jonathan and Nancy on the roof of Hawkins' lab. We get a wide shot of it, and it's spreading like a damn seismic charge from Star Wars. I wanted to stop real quick to give a shout out to Matt, who makes some pretty dang cool candles. He's actually got 2 new Stranger Things scents, Dusty Bun and Steve's Hair. If you like candles, if you're a fan of Stranger Things, consider supporting Matt and his candle business. If you use code FILMSTOCKED11, you can get yourself a discount, so go check him out. I'll link him in the description down below. Go get some candles for season 5. It's sending out waves through the Upside Down all the way to over Hopper and Eleven, who are looking up at the madness. And you can tell Hopper and Elle are actually right outside of that church in the Upside Down, which seems to be right next to the wall I keep referring to. So the map of the Upside Down and new locations starting to come together a little bit for season 5. With the way Jonathan and Nancy embrace each other here, I hate to say it, it seems like one of them or both of them are dying, all right? I hate to be the guy to say that, but it's just probably true. It just seems like they're not going to end up together, and one of them is going to end up making a sacrifice play. A Demogorgon is then shown dropping down through the gate in a tunnel to attack Lucas. As I've said in past videos, he has blood on his shirt here, and he looks to be in serious danger. I really don't know who could save him in this moment, but it's alarming as hell. The next shot's of Nancy. She said, "To hell with the shotgun. I want a full-on assault rifle." She's in the military base shooting at what looks like a Demogorgon, and I'm just going to say right now, go ahead and get ready to pre-order the Nancy with assault rifle Funko, because it's going to drop one day. The next shot's of Dustin in a ghillie suit, and this looks exactly like the getup that he's wearing in the Upside Down when Eddie dies, but there are bruises on his face here, and he's actually next to Nancy and Jonathan, all 3 of these characters looking ready for battle. You might be wondering, where is Steve? We can actually see the head of his axe just out of frame, so there's no need to fret here. This group of 4 is going to kick a lot of ass and most likely be the fan favorite character grouping this season. All right, this next shot is a doozy, so I just got to say, hold on to your butts, brochachos. We get a shot that looks identical to the shot of Henry/1 when he was sent to Dimension X after Elle kicked his ass following the massacre at Hawkins' lab. The rocks in the sky and the red lightning match up with that image perfectly from season 4, but we see someone falling much like Henry was, but who is this? Well, if you zoom in and enhance the image, it looks like it might just be Holly Wheeler. This would confirm that it is her vanishing after all in the 2nd episode, and it would open the door for the show to fully explain Dimension X. Let's say Vecna's playing mind games with Holly, right? And she gets sent to Dimension X mentally. This would allow for the Duffers to explain the origins of Dimension X and its ties to the Upside Down to the audience. It reminds me a lot of how in season 4 Vecna messes with Nancy and plays mind games on her. Well, hey, he's keeping it in the family in season 4 as Holly Wheeler's next. But the recasting of her character makes a lot of sense now, because she's going to play a pretty pivotal role in season 5, it seems. This next shot is maybe in the WSQK radio station, maybe in Hopper's cabin or a new location. Couldn't really tell, but the window makes me think that it's a new house or mansion set, maybe even the church. Again, I have no idea where they are. All I know is we see Jonathan embracing Will along with Dustin, Lucas, Mike, and Elle, and it seems like they almost lose Will for a second, but then he wakes up and this is their reunion moment. In fact, I was thinking this could even be a finale shot out of context. In an article that released the Duffers said that in this trailer there are shots from all 8 episodes of the final season, so maybe this is a finale shot. Now, who's this person in the background? Is that Robin? Is that Vicky? Is that someone we don't know? Maybe I'm just being dumb. I have been studying the trailer so intensely that it could just be escaping my mind, but I don't know who that is. Please let me know who you think. I could just be having a brain fart. Erica gets her moment as she's actually in Hawkins Middle School. Talk about a throwback. Dustin then has a voiceover saying, "We stay true to ourselves. We stay true to our friends, no matter the cost." This just makes me feel like someone's biting the dust. There's so many lines in this trailer that feel endgame, right? That feel so definitive and final. It really does assert the stakes as high as they've ever been in this show, and it scares me, it really does. Nancy and Jonathan are then seen in the back of Steve's car, and Nancy says, "Do it." Steve's then seen driving through the fence and hauling ass in his car, kind of like we saw in the teaser. And then we get an intriguing shot of Eleven in the Upside Down with some like intense winds and forces around her. She's tossing what looks like a tombstone or potentially a piece of the church. Like maybe the church got destroyed by that explosion from Hawkins' lab, and these are the ruins of that. This is kind of just showing how powerful she really has become though, and I wonder if she's facing off against Vecna here or not. The next shot we get is an explosion in what actually looks like the inside of a hospital room to me, and there are soldiers getting tossed around. But who's on the ground here, okay? To me, it kind of resembles Lucas. Are those socks and or shoes Lucas might wear? The big sign here that it could be Lucas is actually the sleeve of his jacket. It looks like it's that maroon and gray pattern that we've seen him wearing before. So is this Max's hospital room? Why is there a military presence there? Who's coming after her? This could very well be the Demodogs coming to get her. And what's fascinating is that in the next shot, Lucas is shown holding Max in the elevator, but he's wearing a completely different outfit. He's wearing his blue WSQK crew neck. Demodogs are fully charging at him, and he's holding a stereo or small boombox of sorts, which has me thinking he's going to be blasting Running Up That Hill by Kate Bush, as this was the song that saved Max in season 4, and this might be moments before she potentially snaps out of it and wakes up from her coma finally. Now this next shot is calling back to why I think Karen Wheeler's blood is on Nancy's hands in the hospital. In this shot, we see Holly running up to Karen, who's on the ground and could very well be injured or bleeding. Both characters are soaking wet, so it's clearly after the shot of the two of them in a bathtub where they're hiding from something or someone. So whatever this is looks like the aftermath of that moment, and they've escaped the threat. Likely because Nancy and Eleven pulled up to save the day. We have a shot of them arriving at the Wheeler house. Nancy with a shotgun, of course. That's from the teaser trailer, so it's likely they are coming to save the day. But to my earlier point, the blood of Karen could be on Nancy's hands, and that's why they have to rush her to the hospital. We have a shot of Dr. K, aka the Linda Hamilton character, who's shown in the military base, shooting at what I imagine to be the Demogorgons based on the end of this trailer, which we're going to get to in a second. And then we get another recycled shot of Mike jumping in front of Derek, Joyce, Will, and some random kids. And I wonder if these random kids are just like kids who were hidden in the bunkers, and then this catastrophic event occurs and all the kids flee, but these are just like some of the stragglers who get hung up with Mike, and so he's protecting them as the leader he is. Like, I don't know if these characters are getting Funko Pops, you feel me? But as I always note when we see this shot, Will is damn near unconscious in the background as Joyce is holding him. And in the next shot, Will is still fully out of it, and it looks like she's handing Will off to Mike or asking Mike for help carrying Will. They're clearly right in the center of downtown Hawkins. You can see the Radio Shack sign behind them. Like, this is literally right outside of Hawkins Library. And you can see a Demogorgon behind Will and Mike. It's coming after them, then it jumps over their head, like into the camera. You can see there's a little gate in the ground. That's likely one of the floor panels that burst open, and it seems like with this visual now, there are going to be multiple Demogorgons raiding the military base. Someone yells, "Look out," and I couldn't tell if that was Mike or not. That's who I think it was, but I really couldn't make out the voice. And this entire sequence is going to be from the episode Sorcerer. It's pretty clear that is going to be some of the most logistically insane stuff they've shot, to quote Ross Duffer, and so I imagine this episode is going to feed us and genuinely be one of the most insane sequences in all of Stranger Things. We then see an explosion at the base, just showing how all that carnage is going to stack up here. There's a close-up of someone shooting a rifle. I couldn't make out exactly who this is. And then we see an overhead shot of the base as multiple Demogorgons run wild. I went nuts when we got confirmation of that in my reaction.
Multiple Demogorgons, dude! What?
And this is just further proof we're going to see some out-of-this-world action in the final season, unlike anything we've seen in the show thus far. Now for the moment you've all been waiting for, Vecna's return. Vecna's back, and we got a new redesign, baby. We first see a shot of Vecna's hand retracting back to normal size. It's dripping with blood. It almost looks like he went full Groot on some soldiers, because there are dead bodies all around, and this is clearly following a massacre. We then pan up to reveal his new look. He's a lot spikier this season, and like, I'm not saying Vecna's jacked, but the man kind of looks ripped. I think I gotta give him some respect. He's hit the gym in the offseason. He then says William. Dropping Will's full name like that is crazy. And we then see Will laying flat on the ground, out of commission, as Vecna lifts him up, drags him right over in front of himself, as if he's about to take over or possess his body. And Vecna's voiceover continues by saying, "You're gonna help me one last time." So it's clear that Vecna broke through the gate at Hawkins Library, as we can see it torn open behind him and Will. And this is gonna be the same gate he's walking toward back in the teaser from July. So the end moments of this teaser tee up that Vecna and or the Mind Flayer are going to take over Will again, much like they did in season 2, where Will was the spy. My question here is, I wonder if Mike, Joyce, and the other characters can see this happening, or if they have any knowledge of this going down or not, because if not, that's going to make things real complicated for the back half of the season. I also wonder how Will's getting out of the situation. Maybe Vecna fully possesses him here and then lets him go in order to use him as a spy, or maybe Will is just with Vecna for the remainder of this season and he takes him hostage. I don't know what they're going to do. I think they're going to tap into new lore, again, new possibilities in this world that we don't even know of. Again, there are lots of questions, but all will be revealed next month with Volume 1, and of course with the final 4 episodes dropping in December. But Volume 1's less than a month away now, and I just want to say, we made it, guys. Let's have a round of applause right now. We made it to the official trailer. Of course, the song that plays overhead is Who Wants to Live Forever by Queen. It's both somber and emotional, yet epic at the same time. And the trailer concludes with the Stranger Things 5 logo and the release dates hitting the screen as always. But that does it for my Stranger Things Season 5 official trailer breakdown. there was lots to discuss there, and there's even more out right now. There are new stills that released on Todoom.com and articles from the Duffer Brothers, so if you want even more information, feel free to seek that out. I just wanted to focus on the official trailer in this specific video, but man oh man did we get fed, and the wait was worth it. If you haven't watched my reaction, be sure to do so. It's linked up above. But that's gonna do it for this big old breakdown of the Stranger Things Season 5 trailer. Let me know in the comments down below your predictions, your theories, your takes on everything that dropped in this trailer. And of course, hit that like button, subscribe to that notification bell, and if you want extra content, Patreon is the place to be. Thank you guys as always for watching. Be on the lookout for more videos coming very soon, and until next time, I'll see you on the other side of the Upside Down.